Guys, I'm not often this optimistic, but I think the Kellogg's boycott can actually work. I've spent all day analyzing their financial statements, and I have some really important information to share. This video might end up being kind of long, but I hope you stay with me here because I'm serious. We can actually potentially bankrupt them. No joke. First off, I don't know how many people know this, but at the end of last year, Kellogg's actually split into two different companies, Kellogg and WK Kellogg. Kellogg houses their snacking brands like Pringles and Cheez-Its, and also international cereals, frozen foods like Morningstar and Eggo, as well as some noodle brands. WK Kellogg will concentrate exclusively on the North American cereal business, which consists of these major brands. Now this fool, Mr. Let Them Eat Cereal, is the CEO and chair of WK Kellogg, which is the company that people are trying to boycott. But unlike boycotting a company like Starbucks, which has stores all over the world and thus they are more resilient to these types of regional boycotts, KW Kellogg is just North America and it's just cereals. So as long as you don't buy Kellogg's cereal, you're good. You can have Pringles, you can have Cheez-Its. That's a different company, a different boycott for a different day. For this to work, you just have to buy General Mills and Post cereals. Lots of options to choose from there. But, and here's a big but, in order to make an impact, the boycott must last longer than 1 quarter. Because retailers, grocery stores, supermarkets, etc., they buy wholesale from manufacturers like Kellogg, and these sales contracts are often locked up 3, 6, sometimes even a year in advance. Meaning that a short-term boycott would only hurt the retailer but not the manufacturer. But if the boycott were to last longer, say 6 months or a year, that would force the retailer, grocery stores, supermarkets, etc., to start renegotiating volume with the manufacturer. Now, to show you just how impactful this boycott can be, meaning that we can actually legitimately bankrupt this company, I'm going to put on my consultant hat for a second and do some back of the envelope analysis. Yeah, I hate the way I just said that. I sound like a corporate stooge. But for those of you who don't know, yeah, I used to be a corporate stooge. Look at me right there. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to put that knowledge to good use here. So based on the latest financial reports I can find, which is from December of 2023, here are the key financial figures for Kellogg. They made $2.7 billion last year, $2 billion of COGS, $662 million SG&A. Anyways, I'm not going to go through all these. Pause if you want to read through. Now, in order to kill a company, their cost has to be higher than their sales, and they have to run out of cash. So I'm going to try to calculate how much their sales can decline by before their net income starts to become negative. To do that, I have to make some assumptions around their cost structure. That information isn't public, but just as a quick, very quick and dirty explanation, there are fixed costs, there are variable costs. Variable costs are costs that fluctuate depending on how much is being produced and how much is being sold, things like labor, utility expenses, commission, packaging, raw materials, etc. Fixed costs are costs that remain the same no matter how much is sold, the buildings themselves, the rent, etc. And in this case, in order to do the calculation, we're going to assume that fixed costs are 20%, and variable costs are 80%. I realize that assumption is not very sophisticated, so if you have a better way of doing this, have at it, but I'm just doing a very quick and dirty analysis. Anyway, this math is gonna get a little technical. I'm not gonna go through it, so I'm just gonna let you see it. Just pause if you wanna read through the math. The key conclusion, though, is that their break-even sales level is about $2 billion, meaning that if their sales fall by more than 25%, roughly 25%, then they will start losing money. Meaning, if just 1 in 4 people stop buying Kellogg cereal, then they're gonna be in big trouble. This is very doable considering that the switching cost is literally 0. You just go foot away and buy a different brand of cereal. You don't need to go to a different store. You don't need to change your consumption habits. Just buy a different brand. Right now they have $89 million in cash. So imagine this happens quarter after quarter. They take losses, compounding losses. It's bye-bye Kellogg. Like, we have a legitimate pathway to bankrupt a corporation this year.